Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 vs 1 on Semois. Yes, indeed, we shall be clashing in Semois once more. In the darkness, the Americans will strike. No, not really, actually. Probably more likely the Germans, since the Americans weren't really keen on night attacks. And yes, we're already getting quickly onto that historical bit. That was actually more the Germans. They were rather keen on infiltration attacks and all those sorts of things. The Americans, for some reason, didn't just, want to venture out when it got dark. Probably because they were scared. Oh, mommy, the big bad crowd is going to get me. Never mind. Don't be too unfriendly to our American viewers. Though, of course, they do know I'm teasing. We shall be watching Buuboon, which for some reason makes me think of a bit with a British comedian, K. Amer, something like that. I can't fully remember his name. Turn a little funny bit on that. And we shall be seeing Wheresmymicro fighting for the Wehrmacht. It's a glorious Wehrmacht. Fighting for the 17th SS versus the 4th Infantry Divisions. Bad Dane, keep hands away from popcorn. Don't eat while casting. My apologies. For some reason I have a weakness towards popcorn. Great weakness. First Volkskongress squad, though, is out for Wheresmymicro. In fact, going for the Volkskongress. Rifleman out on the other hand for Buuboon. Alright, that looked just a bit creepy on those Riflemen. Just looked like his eyes were fully white, Hello there, my friend. Join the United States. Or something like that. The first Rifle squad out. Second one on the way. Troops advancing up there. So far, alright, nice and dandy. Advancing up there, nice spread from both players. None of them worrying about, securing these points with wire. Again, it's something some players do, something other players don't, because again, while it works against rifle engineers, will just cut through it. So the question is, do you want to spend time with it, or just want to advance further up with your pioneers and seize points, or engineers for that matter? Riflemen that are initially driven away by the Volkskongress hiding in the market square. Oh, damn it, hiccups. Points are being secured. Bouncing up a bit there as well. Volkskongress Pioneer. We acquired some Pioneers also sneaking out on the east. So far the Americans seem a bit more concerned with the center. They're not actually spraying out over here. Usually you would see players spread out there, or here for example, when depending on where they are on the map. So that's rather interesting. He rather seems to be ignoring that. He might be trying to... No, he's going for the few point right there. Curious start by the American commander a bit in terms of, what territory he's taking. Taking up Rifleman in the church. Volkskongress moving in. Getting caught in the cemetery. Rifleman flanking nicely. Definitely not good again. Remember, cover is directional. Church move by the Rifleman. I'm not so keen on that one again. The church here is pretty much terrible for Rifleman. There's only 1 or 2 windows. Usually it can fire it from any time. I mean, it's more suited for snipers, MGs, stuff like that, or a Panzerschreck, but not really Riflemen. They really do not get much out of this church. Unless, of course, it's to occupy it so the opponent doesn't get in. But there we go, 2 Volkskongress squads really tearing up the Riflemen. Just note how the Riflemen just are quickly dropping. Simply too much fire. And there we go, Buuboon needs to get away. And now it's the other Rifleman squad, although they are doing a bit of damage to the Wehrmacht. Still, they are outnumbered. And if they're not careful, this will be their final resting place alongside Farmer Francois, Le Paul, and Le Burb. And there we go, Riflemen are retreating, heavy losses. Additional Volkskongress out. In fact, we're seeing a pretty Volkskongress heavy start by the Wehrmacht. And considering he's not going with a Fort Barrack start, this is actually a bit rare. He's not gotten a single MG42 as of yet. These pioneers don't need to get out, but again, quite interesting to note. Hopefully he will get some support units out, otherwise he's going to be having a bit more curious Wehrmacht start, because again otherwise they would just go for this if he only get Volkskongress. Engineers taking up position there, and there we go, the Schwers MG42 moving out. And we are seeing some rifle getting in there, getting the drop on the Volkskongress, thus forcing them away. Additional rifle on the way off for Buuboon and the 4th Infantry Division. Engineers taking up a blocking position in the house, but Volkskongress are moving in to deal with that, although again, cut-off point nicely cut off. And the engineers decide it is time to make a run for the hills. MG42 moving in there, might be trying to sort of cover this area. Rifleman going for that central victory point. Mine engagement, there we go. Mines already, lovely, what we like to see. Yes, I do seem to have a bit of a minor cold or something else. Rifleman sitting up to head on the flank. He's not going to bother with the city centre right away. Rifleman rushing into the church once more, ringing the bells. Or just for reconnaissance purposes, but again, I mean, they're not really getting much out there. Note, in fact, in this side, for some reason, there's only one rifleman firing out. I mean, this is not really the best usage of a rifleman squad at all. I mean, yes, you get to see where the enemy is, but that's about it. And of course, now he's also aware, you know, that Mr. Wheresmymicro is actually trying to lay down bunkers right here, which is actually not a bad idea. I mean, again, a bunker early on can, you know, if properly used, give you quite an advantage, and can also mentally put some pressure on your people. Again, you also have to sort of consider the mental aspect, and bunkers really can cause some players to sort of try and sometimes overreach, because again, they only see the bunker all of a sudden. They get bunker vision, or sort of something like that. And there we go. We are seeing grenades, so pretty early on. 4 riflemen and then a grenade. Oh, usually you only see 3 riflemen and then the grenade to sort of really get that early surprise in. But in this case, Buuboon decided to get 4 riflemen, then get the grenade. Still, a grenade opening can really be powerful if you know how to use it. And again, the first grenade is usually one of the most powerful, because again, that's the one your opponent is not expecting. So I mean, sometimes, you know, the greater trick is just to get some grenades, and all of a sudden your Wehrmacht opponent's going like, ugh, scheiße. Granaten. We are seeing some Volksguys moving up, though taking up position behind the fence, but they are getting a bit more exposed to the broad side of the house, which is definitely to the advantage of the riflemen, since that means they can actually get off more fire versus the Volksguys who only have a slight wooden fence to hide behind. And last I checked, wooden fences are not high on the protection rating. But nonetheless, holding the city square, mining right in front of the church. Leaving a little present for the pious of mind. Or the priest, for that matter, if it never gets detonated. In which case, he'll be off to meet his maker. Much faster than he imagined. We are seeing the Volksguys still moving up. This squad needs to get away, though. I mean, note, very low on health. I mean, this is basically just veterancy happening for the opponent. I mean, get it back, get it reinforced, and get it healed up. The sooner the better. Flamethrower pioneers. Ooh, nice push right there into center by Buuboon. And the pioneers might in fact going down. And the mine. Deminen. And the medic moves in. Through the smoke. Through the pinned down rifleman. And he managed to impress the rifleman that he's actually one of them. Ja, ich bin ein Rifleman. I just dropped my rifle. Let me go get it. Anyways, oh, could it be? He's actually getting a demo charge. Of course, he's aware of it due to this, and of course, knowing that he's going to get one. So he's actually getting a demo charge to actually knock it out. Sniper out there, so... Oh, Volksguy squad down, full... Oh, nice push, nice flank. All of the force were up there, and he swept into the sound center at the same time. Very bad, very bad. The MD-42 has also been pushed away. For the final up, we are seeing defensive, but there's a demo charge now up. Medics are moving in. And though he might actually be able to reform a grenadier squad, might be needed to detonate it. Detonate it! You know, there's a big red flashy button with an arrow, you know, detonate me. No, he's waiting first until the grenadiers out. He can, of course, get more experience, but at the same time, he doesn't quite get all of the grenadiers. So, I mean, you don't quite get the full out of it, I think. And in fact, this still means that Wheresmymicro now has what grenadier squad to replace the right full grenadiers. Which is not quite his advantage. Grenade, though, kills to rifle and force retreat. Sniper opens up, shove, shoots it on the spot. Moving forwards. And we are seeing it mine right there. Lovely. Wunderbar. Unless, of course, you're a German. In which case, it's bad. Very bad. But going for the cutoff point again. No resources there. A bit of pressure on the Germans, on the Krauts. And somehow these grenadiers managed to miss the mine. Quite lucky, those fellows. And the engineers getting sniped. Oh, fraps. Be nice, be nice. You naughty, naughty program. And yes, the grenadiers waltzed past it again. You know, Hans, I have a tingling sense of danger. Really, Helmut? Yes. I think I shouldn't have eaten that sauerkraut. I think it was bad. Anyways, the Americans are gathering up for an assault, and we are seeing Browning automatic rifles. Better drop there again. At the same time, we are seeing the Kriegbags, of course. He's seen the grenades, but that usually doesn't mean he might go straight for vehicles, so he can still, you know, safely out of the woods right there. BARs though, but of course he doesn't know that his opponent has gotten the Browning automatics now, so he's going for the Kriegbags, although he's still preparing a bit for vehicles. And again, that's what he's doing. Again, he doesn't know his opponent really has, you know, lined up for the rifleman with heavy. Otherwise, he might in fact have skipped the Kriegbags and gone straight for the Sturm Armory. I mean, that's the tricky thing with grenades. They can sort of, you know, go both ways in terms of either, you know, going more for the rifleman or, you know, going for some heavier vehicles. Rifleman M though quickly getting suppressed. Skipping sides, and there we go. Actually a two-pronged assault. That is good. You don't want just, you know, one horde sweeping in from one side. You usually want something, you know, like this. One squad moving up and two squads moving up on the one side and another on this other side. Thus, you know, again, trying to hit from all sides. And again, in this case, Wheresmymicro is not prepared for this. He's desperately turning out the MG. So there we go, though. Nice execution, pushing up, and grenade trying to cover, forcing the German troops away from it. On the grenade, on the MG, killing one. Market stall collapses. The marketplace is now a marketplace of death and doom, of bullets, of Kruppsteel. Come one, come all. Rather than getting suppressed, nice placement of the MG. Grenades going off, mines I think also. And the sniper in the bunker holding off the American advance for the Fatherland, and some very nice MG placement rather save the day, quickly reinforcing it. And the Germans are moving out again, but that for the final also delayed the medic bunker upgrade, so that could still have bought him some time. Supplying up is good. A medic station would have been nice, I think, to pick up some of those American wounded. Oh, very close to the mine, so close. And the Germans hiding. This is the world's best hiding spot in the middle of the road. Right next to this big blast marker. And the MG's moving in, and oh dear, and the sniper went down. Shrapnel shredded his poor body. And there we go, medic packs being equipped, MG advancing. And basically the medic pack just makes them move slower, apparently. That's about it, actually. There's no other penalties, they just move slower. So, I mean, it can actually be used in the middle of combat, except you actually expect them to move about in the fight. Rifleman moving out. More riflemen getting ready. Motor pool up. Flaps acting sit. My apologies. Sometimes I get no problems, sometimes I get a lot of problems. Assault phase those ready. Rifleman advancing up through the road. And the MG42 quickly deters them from advancing up further it. And fraps. Minor push up the western flank. An armored car could probably turn things around, and the pack is rather at a much more rearward position. He might in fact be worrying that the American will actually try to take a much farther route and try to hit the base. So in that sense he's keeping the pack in a much more reserved position, which is not necessarily always a bad idea. Though it could also mean in this case the Americans could retake most of the town, and in fact some of the edges of the town. But there we go, German counterattack going out on the western flank. Few riflemen though, although he is reinforcing it with engineers, but none of them have flamethrowers. Riflemen being pushed back behind some haystacks, heavier cover. German infantry is pushing in. Damn that cold. Further fire, further infantry moving in. And there we go, grenade on the riflemen. Oh, killing two. More forces moving in. Second wave. Going to deter those scouts. And there we go, hitting the flank of the grenadiers. Oh dear, down to 2 men. Need to get out of there now. Of course, it's time for the full sense. They're putting back perhaps towards the house to hold up a position there, or will they just be getting out of there fully? Proton is getting shot up. And there we go, into the house, though of course they have to be careful with grenades. Others hiding in a ditch for cover. But the riflemen are quickly occupying the ditch, rather making that less effective. And the chaps in the house need to get out of there. They are in fact in a very bad position. They will be forced to run the gauntlet. Although the other Volksguard seem to be trying to occupy. Oh dear, he could be losing several Volksguard squads right there. Very close, and the medics are moving in with some stalwart German troops to try and make them into even further stalwart German troops. Sturm army is soon up, certainly got the resources for it, and the first Greyhound has arrived. Americans are making a nice sweep, and again, note he's, not just attacking down one specific route, he's constantly, attacking back and forth. He's trying, of course, to spread out the German, he's trying to sort of find the weak spots and then punish them. I mean, that's what a good American player do. He doesn't try to break down the German wall with his sledgehammer. He just sort of tries to find the cracks and exploit it. So again, very nicely done by Buuboon, pushing hard on all sides and punishing the German player for any sort of mistakes. Very good. We are seeing dual armored cars on the way. I think one Sturmgeschütz would be nice, but since it's both a bit armored, it can do all right against infantry, but also, something against the armored cars, and again, also something a bit more mobile. Plus, against tank destroyers, it's also quite handy to have. Should rather serve, numerous roles. Again, you will need infantry supported because it is an assault gun, but still, I would suggest it. This, of course, is the Stug 4-inch. Coming here too, we will be receiving the glorious Stug 3G, which was the most produced vehicle in the Wehrmacht. And, well, most produced armored fighting vehicle, I suppose you'd call it.
We are losing territory.
Only the Panzer IV was as close to being that much produced, and it's only off by 100, I think, or something like that. Armor car that rolls in, opening up on the riflemen, gunning down several of them, forcing the rest away. And the Greyhounds moving about. Anti-tank gun setting up a nice covering position. Greyhound moving about, mine down there, good. Good. A Greyhound mine can also be effective. It does cost more, but you also do get that much more explosive firepower for your 50 munitions. And it can actually knock out an entire squad if it actually goes pretty well. Panzerwreck, though, does some nasty damage right there to the armored car. So nice little blocking position right there. Greyhound's not upgraded, though they could be. They could be upgraded. No.
The Yankees are grabbing our territory.
Troops of the 17th SS are holding on, though, versus the 4th Infantry Division. Medic bunkers not really getting a lot of grenadiers out. Again, not a lot of wounded, not a really lot of large engagements. And there we go, though, the Puma upgrade is on the way, probably from the Panzerlehr. Not a lot of divisions in Normandy actually had the Puma. They had these sort of regular heavy armor cars, but not the Puma. That was actually much rarer. And generally not a huge deal of them were produced. Again, they were sort of more reserved for the elite Panzer divisions to really provide the best reconnaissance. Rifleman quickly pulling up, though, behind some heavy cover, although armor cars blasting away. One rifleman bites the dust. 50mm gun on the Puma, doing quite nicely. No veterancy for them. In fact, well, we are seeing a Kampfkraft sent up, but he's only got veterancy 1 for his infantry. I think that's a bit missing an opportunity. Oh dear, hiccups. Fighting is dying down a bit, as both sides are trying to figure out what to do, I imagine. We are seeing another armoured coming up from the south. Apparently the Panzerlehr is providing quite an armoured reconnaissance bit there. Oh, mine goes off, destroying the engine up. And there we go, the Greyhound is moving in. Going to be striking at the German one. Volksgrenadiers and armoured car support, though, arriving to try and assist. This could in fact become a larger skirmish. We are seeing an anti-tank gun out for Buuboon. There we go, the others are arriving. Will the Greyhound be able to get the 8-wheeled? Yes, indeed. And a kill goes off the rifle. No, exiting just as the other twos are moving out. Greyhound needs to get out of there very, very quickly before the other one blocks the way. Oh dear, it's happened. It's actually blocking the way. Damaged engine on the Puma. He needs to focus it down. Oh dear, gunner killed. He is in fact trapped, I fear. Damaged engine itself, and these rifles need to get out of there. This is, oh dear, this is just, oh, terrible. And the rifles are trying to sticky bomb the other one. Bad choice of priorities. He should have gone for this one. Oh no. Oh no, that was actually pretty bad for Buuboon. That little armoured car fight could definitely tip scales in the favour of the 17th and their Panzerlehr support. And which is not uncommon, for example, in particular, to receive reconnaissance assets to be attached and detached to other units. Although again, it generally happened a lot. You know, bits were attached, and attached particularly with the Germans. The 352nd had several battalions and other units attached to it during the fight to basically, you know, provide replacements and reinforcements as its divisions were ground down.
We are ready to close with the enemy.
And the 17th SS itself had 2 SS reconnaissance battalions from Panzer divisions attached to it directly. I mean, the Americans had something similar. I mean, the Allies had, but I don't think it was rather to the same extent. It was usually something more formalized through, I believe, the combat, where you'd see bits, you know, passed out from other armored divisions to provide armor for the infantry, and of course, you know, independent tank and tank destroyer battalions. The Soviets had also something a bit like that. I'm not so huge on Allied doctrine still. There are differences. Rather than advancing, folks guns again piling up in the cemetery wall. MG providing suppressive fire, stopping the riflemen. Not a lot going on in the base there, and looks like he actually lost the Puma as well. And I missed that actually, I'm sorry, just sometimes get a bit caught up. And also this flaps going on and off is not helping either. In fact, oh, an LMG! Leichtes Maschinengewehr 42. Which was rather how you actually would most in fact see the MG. I mean, the heavy machine gun was not the most common bit, it was actually this one. And for the Panzer Grenadier unit, each squad would actually have 2 of them. Which again is certainly fun to note, because again they were actually expected to be more aggressive. And again, while some seem to think, oh, this is a defensive weapon, it wasn't. It was an offensive, and well, also defensive, but also offensive, there to suppress and kill. In fact, the MG42 was actually quite accurate. Flamethrower Pioneers forcing away the rifle up there. All the Pioneers might get killed. Still not a lot of veterancy for his units. Another pack out. Still no Sturmgeschütz either. Still nice to see some Leichtes Maschinengewehr action. It can be alright, although certainly has its limits. And could definitely be a bit cheap. Still an alright weapon if you can get it off in some good positions. And it can generally deter an American opponent from actually charging at your Grenadier squad. In which case it does definitely serve a purpose, because then you can actually get off the great advantage, which is, you know, the Wehrmacht is better at range. So again, it does have some purposes. Armored car opening up a bit on the MG. No packs really stop them. Another armored car on the way. Apparently the SS Panzer Abteilung attached, or well, directly part of the 17th SS is not being drawn into the fight. Grenadiers fighting in the north. Panzerschreck versus Riflemen, and they're moving in fact. No, oh, in fact he's actually bothered with infantry too. That's good. Good, in fact. But again, fighting Astron down a bit. Let's go look at Buuboon again. I believe it's time he's gone for Allied War Machine again. It's rather fun. We're seeing a lot more Wehrmacht players go for defense, although again we've seen some, you know, use of terror, and now again we're seeing a lot of allies going for armor, which is actually a bit more rarer. And there's certainly some, you know, circularity or whatever, rotation in sort of doctrinal usage, what is, you know, the most hotly used at times. But I mean, generally you haven't seen armor doctrine that much used before overall. I mean, really the latest patch has really made it that much more effective, I think, which is certainly quite interesting. I mean, usually it was mostly infantry, then airborne, but now, I mean, you see armor a lot more than you, for example, see airborne. So, I mean, airborne seems to have fallen a bit into the shell. Oh my goodness, I think that was a Greyhound mine right there. Took out an entire Volksgrenadier squad. Again, Greyhound mines, if that was the case. Again, bloody effective. Grenadiers moving up with the LMG, although again, no, it cannot fire on the move. Oh, grenades getting exchanged. Will they fire up? Again, LMG has to stand still, but there we go. He didn't really get much out of it again. He probably shouldn't have tried to move up that close. Still rifle moving up there. Now the LMG can shine. If the gunner could stand still again, that's another bit of an issue right there. And he's constantly moving about, and for every time he does, he actually needs a few seconds to actually fire again. I mean, it's really... It's also one of those little things that actually minimizes how effective that LMG can actually be. Armor car, though, taking fire from the anti-tank. Another moving up. Careful with the mines, though. And a Niebler arrives. Might be an here to stand in cover instead of taking fire. So far, he's not really getting anything out of that LMG. Again, he's moving in about a bit too much. And the LMG just does not work if that happens. Sad but true. And it's definitely also one of the weaknesses of the LMG-42. Then again, I mean, even if the Grenadier just shifts a bit, I mean, he suddenly has to take it like half a second or more to actually begin firing again. But there we go, Nebelwerfer for firing, and the American anti-tanks are awfully close to mines of their own. Another Volksgrenadier squad down. Heavy losses all of a sudden for the SS troops. Nebelwerfer rockets blowing up. A bit of this and that. Gunners dying, mines going off. And another Greyhound mine right in front of the pack, though. Careful, the mine could go off. In this case, it did not happen, and the Greyhound escapes safely for now. And there we go. Again, we do see a lot of players going for that Calliope. He's probably going to try and blast the crowd into submission with lots and lots of rockets. But will he fire them? Pancake in the house. LMG Grenadiers moving up once more. Where are the LMG Grenadiers? They might want to work into the cemetery to provide protective fire there. Grenades, get a few rifle armor car blasting away. Calliope is still not firing. He's waiting for the right time to unleash hell. Which is definitely also a sign of a good and patient player. But still, I think Pershing might have worked a bit better. Since the only packs were still. Grenadiers moving in. Some with LMGs, some without. Riflemen suffering a bit out in the open. And there we go, German assault. Anti-tank gun cleared out. And now the Calliope fires, but the Grenadier, it's way too late. The Grenadiers are now too close. And the Cafe is actually blocking the line of fire. I mean, that's something you actually have to be careful with. Grenadiers are suffering, but that was actually a bit of a mismove right there. He waited too long to use his Calliope. Way too long. Now the Calliope is being run off, tragically enough. Panzerlegs are flying, trying to get it, but they can't actually. Oh dear, oh dear. And now he's getting snipers. I think snipers are simply too late to actually handle all of this. You should actually try getting a tank depot up and trying to get some Shermans out or something else. He does not need snipers, I think. Rifleman here versus the Grenadiers. So there we go, LMG firing away. Hiding inside the building. Not good. Grenades, and of course with an LMG right in front. There we go. And they are dropping up right in front of it. And there we go, just tearing through those GIs. And heavy losses are inflicted. Armor cars dealing with the rifle. Although mine really damaged one of them. We could be seeing a sticky bomb. Although the rifle are in the middle of negative cover, they could get killed. Sniper fire. And there we go, didn't really get much out of it. And a rifleman squad, in fact, went down. He's a bit too reckless, I think, with those riflemen. Again, a medic station also helped him. Armor car forcing away the Grenadiers from the south. Still, that LMG did help quite nicely there. Rather seems like the American defense is falling a bit apart. More riflemen on the way. At least he's keen on getting them replaced. He's got supply upgrades, but still no medic station. Would have been nice. Armored car lurching out of there. Flank being covered by Grenadiers and packs, and veterancy free for the Grenadiers, and some veterancy for his vehicles as well. That is good. But interesting enough, still not a single Sturmgeschütz. I think one could have helped. And there we go, the riflemen are arriving. And yes, this is a bit of a shorter game, my apologies. Still, the American does hold most of the victory points now. Let's hope we can get this time a bit more out of the Calliope rather than last time. And there we go, the Grenadiers advancing once more. Sniper in the middle of everything, has to be careful though. And again, fun fact, the LMG is surprisingly accurate against retreating snipers. You wouldn't believe it, but apparently it is. I mean, I've seen it happen and I was like, whoa. There we go, snipers real right in front of the Grenadiers with the LMG. Will they get him? No, he's hiding again. Although again, we probably won't be seeing that in Company Heroes 2. Something which our man Company Heroes 1 snipers actually cursing about. There we go, Grenadiers moving in. And there we go. Actually doing a lot of damage. And there we go. Sniper dead. Went down to the Grenadiers. Now taking up position behind the cemetery walls. Opening up. And looks like a German sniper has arrived. Yes, indeed. Hans the Wunder Sniper has arrived. Engineers with a BAR. Not entirely sure they're going to do much. They are moving in. He's not really getting much out of his Calliope again. Why did he go for it if he would rather have been served better with the Pershing? Cemetery wall crumbling under Allied firepower. The Grenadiers might want to get getting out of there. And the 50 caliber actually gets one pack inching up. And there we go. Nice hit on the Greyhound. I think that was a mismove, and I think generally that Buuboon might have been better served with another doctrine. Either airborne or infantry. In particular, infantry would have helped him much better in holding the town when he actually had map dominance earlier on. I mean, you know, choosing the right doctrine can actually make a difference. And again, this building is simply absorbing way too much of the Calliope's fire. I think he should, you know, consider moving it elsewhere. Need a bit of a fight in return, though. And Grenadiers doing a bit of damage to these riflemen. Although an LMG would have definitely been a help to them. Let's go return to Wheresmymicro. Rocket barrage. Oh, right on the Calliope. Oh my goodness. Just death and destruction and carnage. And there we go, Buuboon realizing the fight has lost, retreat to another defensive line while the 17th SS prepare to retake what is, well, left of the town. Very important to know what is left of it. But I mean, yes, rather short. I mean, we saw some interesting things, we saw some interesting moves by both players. We saw Buuboon, you know, really nice aggressor, but I think the mistake essentially was in the choice of doctrine. He really did not get nothing out of it. The Calliope was an absolute mismatch, absolutely misfire, only got one kill. Either he should have gone for the Persian Marine. I think he should have gone for infantry again. All the upgrades there could have helped his riflemen hold the town much better. With barbed wire, sandbags, mines themselves. Rangers could have helped against the armoured cars a bit, you know, with the buildings. And of course, artillery could also have been an asset. So again, either that or we should have got airborne, you know, guns and anti-tank guns that way. But again, I do think armour doctrine was really the wrong choice in this case for the Americans. But I mean, it was very close, and the American definitely had the advantage at certain stages, but again, just wrong doctrine. So there you go. Do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.